Hey guys, it's West here. Welcome back to some more from the Crumbs. This is episode 6, 7? Wow, I should have checked. But we've got plenty of stuff to talk about. It's been a little while since the last episode, and a good bit of stuff has happened. Let's see, I've had all these double XPs that I've been burning through. I think I've gone through 3 in the past week, just because between the event and making 6 stars, I'm getting a lot of them. And I've been leveling a lot of monsters. So most notable is going to be the 6-star Crazevelg. I'm not sure if the H is silent. He's a monster that I've seen a little bit of in Giants, and I really enjoy his kit, even though his base stats are pretty trashy. His base defense, base attack, they're both kind of low. His HP is nothing to write home about, and his speed isn't special either. So I was a little bit on the edge at first when it came to 6-starring this unit, so I 5-starred him and gave him a speed, crit damage, attack, fatal blade build with some decent accuracy, and I threw him into my GB10, and he instantly made improvements to my team, up the consistency, kind of cut the speed down quite a bit. I'll show you my fastest run in a minute here. At 5-star, I had him with a triple damage dealer, Galleon Vero comp, and he actually, I think it was 122, but he did that at 5-star, and I was extremely impressed. And after that run, I instantly went in, grabbed my Rainbow Mon, and 6-starred him. I'm super impressed with what he does. His skill kit is really amazing. We'll talk about that here, actually. His first skill applies 2 continuous damage effects that last for 1 turn each, which is really, really nice because that's 10% of the boss's HP. It's like immediate damage gratification, I guess. As opposed to a dot like Veramos's, which is a 2-turn dot, but it's only one of it. So it's basically 5% per turn, but his dots will affect the boss faster, and I don't know, I really like that. I like having more dot effects. It'll take the boss down a lot quicker. He has branding on the second skill. I do want to mention the multipliers here. First skill is not a very notable multiplier. It's around 240% if I remember correctly. The second skill is a 600% multiplier, which is very respectable, I guess, for single target damage, especially since the cooldown goes down to 2 turns at max skill. And not to mention, it leaves a branding effect for 2 turns, which is going to increase the damage of all your units on the boss by 25%. Stack that with attack buff and defense break, and your damage output increases significantly. It's pretty amazing. And it also increases his attack bar by 50%, so it's a guaranteed half of a violent proc every time you use his second skill. That, with the fact that it's on a 2-turn cooldown, I mean, he's getting turns left and right. Also, he's doing all that damage to the boss. The 600% multiplier is really good. It's really nice to see on a unit like this. And then you've got his third skill, which is kind of just icing at the cake at this point, because the dots help you bring down the boss and the mid-boss. The branding effect, like I said, it's really good single target damage, as well as increasing the damage of your entire team on whatever target has the brand. So like I said, the mid-boss or the boss, it's going to decrease the time it takes you to kill them. And the third skill is an AoE that hits 2 times, and it increases the attack speed and attack power of your entire team. The damage it does is pretty respectable. Most notably, though, after you do this AoE, most of the time it'll kill crystals with a Galleon defense break and attack buff on your units. Most of the time, if you crit and have enough damage, it'll kill it. But you also increase your attack speed and recover 10% HP every single turn. And the attack speed increase is 25, I believe. I can check this out here, actually. I want to do a spotlight video on this guy when I get better runes, of course. I just want to point him out now so I can really point out why he's so good. Actually, it's a 35 extra speed. So, well, his third skill is on cooldown. His speed goes up by 35, which means he's going to be getting more turns to do, his damage, his brand, his dots, as well as gaining the HP every turn, the 10% HP. So he basically heals himself, which is why some HP subs can be really nice on him. But overall, his kit is just really, really amazing for Giants. He's got this really nice Guild War 33% attack lead. It's nice because I've been using him in Guild Wars a lot. I didn't really have wind attackers for a long time. Now I have him and Charlotte. Of course, Charlotte's on this build still, this Fatal Blade build, high damage. I have been plussing the runes up, making them plus 15, so her damage output is maximized. I'm trying to only plus 15 the 6-star runes that I'm going to keep. This 6-star rune right here is decent, and it's decent enough to keep it plus 12. I don't want to sink the mana into it, the million mana or whatever it would take to get it to plus 15, because only a 14% crit rate sub is not that great. I do have another 6-star rune here somewhere, I thought. Perhaps it's a blade rune. Yes, and a rune like this is something I would, I wouldn't hesitate to 6-star because or plus 15, because it's a 6-star attack percentage with decent crit rate and high speed. So that rune is definitely going to be brought to plus 15, but something like this where the only really great stat for an attacker is the 14% crit rate, it's not really worth my plus 15 yet. Maybe when I get grinds in the future and I can maximize this rune a little bit more. Until then, I'm going to keep it at plus 12, and of course I'm going to use it on whatever B tier or secondary damage dealers I use. I have been doing a lot more Guild Wars and Guild Siege. I did participate a lot more in the last war. I got around 200 guild points and 70 crystals, if I remember correctly, which is pretty decent for not having to put in too much effort. Bella did get a little bit of a speed bump, and I think a little increase in defense percentage. Veramos has barely been touched. Galleon hasn't gotten too much. I did switch. I had to rerune Lapis because when I built Hraesvelg, I took a lot of runes from Lapis, of course, because she had a lot of the crit rate, crit damage, accuracy type of runes with decent speed. Also, I'd like to mention that I do want to get Hraesvelg up to 200, 220 speed, which sounds like a lot, but you really want him moving as often as possible. You want him to be really fast. And I do use him in a lot of other places, including Arena now that I've, built him up and seen how great his kit is. But aside from that, back to Lapis. I have her on a attack, crit damage, HP build. These runes need to be plus 15. Probably going to plus 15 this slot too, even though I don't really want to. She does need the extra damage, and I guess the speed, the resistance, I don't know. It's kind of in the same boat as the other rune I showed you on Charlotte, the slot 2. But I really want her stats to be maximized because it's nice to have her in Guild Wars. The big problem I'm having is her crit rate is very low, so as soon as I can, I'm going to be switching around some runes, maybe a better slot 1 and a better slot 3, so that her crit rate could be a little higher, because I need extra 4-star attackers. My main damage runes are, or have been, on Charlotte and Sigmaris, which means that those 4-star towers in Guild Wars Siege, kind of ineffective. So she's going to get some changes. I do like her on a little bit higher of an HP build because oftentimes she gets focused before Veramos or Bella, usually the two people I use with her comps, or a Bella Megan. And when Lapis gets focused down, it's no fun. She dies really easily, and then there goes your 4-star attacker for that round. Because Bella Megan can't really pick up any fights. We'll talk about Stella a little bit. I really, really want to build Stella, and I really, really want to build Wayne. I have been using Wayne on 2 of the other 3 accounts that I play on. I know it's kind of ridiculous that I play on that many accounts. But I have been building up the Leica account. I hope you guys have seen that video. I'm extremely excited about that account. Leica's amazing. Unawakened with a very mediocre Violent Blade set. He is performing amazingly. The damage output's great. It's just really fun to see the revenge procs all the time as well. But I've been using Wayne on that account as well as the other one. And Wayne is just, it's crazy. Sometimes his second skill will proc like 10 times, and that's not even an exaggeration. I've seen him solo mid-boss waves at Giants B7 sometimes with a speed crit damage attack build. And him and Stella are basically in the same boat, except Wayne needs a little bit more speed and doesn't need accuracy, and Stella needs a little bit more accuracy and can sacrifice a little bit more speed so that you land all your effects, of course the third skill and second skill, most importantly, as well as the first skill. The thing about Stella is she needs skill ups really badly for her to be effective at all, because a 50% defense break is not very reliable. 75% is barely reliable, but it's better than, a hell of a lot better than 50. The second skill, the 75% again with the brand, it's not reliable and you can't count on it to consistently brand, as well as the 4-turn cooldown is a little rough. So having it on a 3-turn cooldown with 100% harmful effect rate is amazing. So of course she's going to need 5 skill ups just for her second skill. Overall, she has a lot of skill ups required. She has 14 skill ups that you need for her, which is around the same boat as some Nat 5s like Perna. And she's not really reliable or effective until you get all those skill ups, so she's going to be sitting here probably end up getting Devilmon. I hope I don't have to use too many, but she's at the bottom of the list, of course. I do want to use her though in Guild Wars, in Guild Wars Siege, and of course in the Giants and Dragons Speed teams. She brings some sustainability with the third skill, reducing the attack bar as well as the damage output and the extra defense break. So I will be building her eventually. Right now I'm just kind of looking for runes for her. Even without skill ups, she still has really good multipliers, and her skills are really relevant to things like Guild War where you need a single target nuker. Wayne, of course, I might even just drop him into some of my teams right now, and for instance, my Giants team. I do have Hraesvelg as an attack speed buffer. It's not extremely consistent though. The attack speed only lasts for 2 turns, and it's not up as often as I'd like it to be. And it's basically a Bernard with damages is what Wayne is. I heard a lot of rips about people who have been building Waynes. I really like him. I'm a big fan of the unit. When I build him up and put at least 5 and 6 star runes on him and get him to plus 15, and when I think he's got decent enough stats, I am going to be making a spotlight on Wayne, just because I think he's an amazing monster that gets overlooked. He's one of those 3 stars I think really shines in the game, and hits really hard and is really fun to play with when his RNG works. Poseidon, his runes are pretty much stripped for Beretta. Beretta is now awakened and 5-starred. I've been considering 6-starring Beretta next, mostly because I want to be able to auto TOA 100, and of course I'm not at the point with my runes where I can do that yet, but building Beretta is going to be a huge step in that direction. So just basic speed, HP, defense, tanky subs, good accuracy, I guess, or at least the accuracy cap for TOA normal. I would like a little bit more speed, but I'm not super worried about it. Beretta's not a main dungeon monster, so he's fine where he's at. Bernard's still quick as he's been. Accuracy's low, but I use him in TOA and that's about it. So I'm not super concerned about that. And of course in Arena, but in Arena I don't really rely on his defense break. I rely on Galleon's. Galleon does need more accuracy. 55 or 57% is not where I want to have him at. I want to have him at like 85% just to reliably land defense break in Arena. 100% if I wanted him to reliably land defense break in the Giants mid-boss stage. Eladriel has not yet gotten runes. I've been scouting around. Probably going to put him on a Swift energy build, and if I don't put him on a Swift energy build, then I'll wait until I'm in Dragons to build him, which is kind of sad and disappointing, but I don't really have the rune quality to support an Eladriel, because Eladriel needs a lot of stuff, and, is most effective on Violent when you could get a bunch of additional turns and do a bunch of crazy stuff. So probably not going to build him yet. Mav has slowly but surely been getting skilled up. I do need to awaken him, of course. Wind Day's coming up. I'm going to have plenty of monsters to awaken. And Mav will also be used in my TOA teams. He'll help a lot in TOA hard, where it's really important to have those skills off of cooldown. Other than that, I have pulled an Orang. I do plan on building her as a single target wind damage dealer. I know I have 2 wind damage dealers, but as I was talking about before, some of my best runes are on Charlotte and Sigmaris. So I need a single target wind damage dealer with really high damage output that isn't a nat 5. So I have a Ring here. Her multipliers are insane. Her base attack gets up to 911 at 6-star awakened max level, which is amazing for a fusible nat 4. I'd highly recommend her for anyone who is early going into mid game, farming GB10 already, and just needs an extra wind damage dealer. You could slot her into your GB10 team if you need as well. She's a fairly decent monster. I do have this extra Galleon that's still sitting here. These guys are going to sit here for a while. I might just put them into storage because I really don't need them clogging up space. Also building this guy, the Fire Bounty Hunter. His name is Randy. There we go. He is basically a poor man's Amesity. I'm getting up Swift runes. I almost have enough Swift runes to rune him up because I'm going to be doing my Randy Copper Bulldozer team for Guild Siege and Guild Wars. That way, hopefully, I can hit higher level defenses with the ignore defense skills. Other than that, that's about all the monsters I'm going to be talking about today. If you're curious about my storage box, I might as well just show it in every video just to update people in case they're curious. Not too much has changed here. Same monsters I talked about before, just sitting there for whatever reason. TOA hard, I was able to get past 51 up to 54 after building Beretta. Not too worried about getting up to 60. I'm probably not going to be able to. I'm kind of caught at this stage. It's kind of annoying, so I haven't been wanting to deal with that. World boss, it's the same situation. I pretty much just need to build more monsters and get some more runes on everybody. Monsters that I'm building for Guild Wars and Guild Siege are going to basically bring up my world boss score over time, so I'm not really dedicating resources to that now. Giants team, I'll talk about this Giants team that had the amazing finish. So I believe it was this team, and I think this was it. I don't think I had any other damage dealer here, but I brought this team, and this team is semi-reliable. The finishes are pretty quick, which is nice, but the reliability isn't 100% there. I think it's like a 85 or 80% success rate, which is not terrible. The triple AoE really helps. The attack bar reduction skills and the stuns. That's the biggest problem, is most of this run relies on stunning the crystals because there is no healer. The Wind Barb King does have a self-heal, which helps with sustain a little bit. It's one more person you have at the boss stage. I do have 2 sources of dots with the Wind Barb King and Vero, which helps at the boss stage, meaning that if the rest of my units fail and die, sometimes they can clean it up. This is not the team I'm running, in case you're curious. I am running Sigmaris, Wind Barb King, Belladeion, Megan Vero, just because it's super consistent. It fails maybe 1 out of every 100 runs. I'm really happy with that team so far, and it's got about 220 runs, so I don't really need faster than that without high reliability. I would like a consistent 130 team. I know that's asking for a lot, especially with my rune quality and time I've put into the game. I am sitting at about 2 months and 5 days now for the time that I've put into this account, in case anyone's curious. So that's my current area of progression. You'll see Wind Barb King didn't land the dots there. That would have killed the boss a little bit faster. He didn't land the dots there. His accuracy is as high as it can be for Giants. The thing is, the harmful effect rate on his first skill is 50% without any skill ups, so there's a lot of times he won't land dots at all. Not a huge deal, but it helps with the damage output since his first skill has a really low multiplier. You'll see this was a 134 finish, and it looked like everything worked out clean, and that's just because I landed all the stuns. My fastest finish was 122 on this. Pretty awesome. If this team was a little bit more reliable, then I would run it more often. The big thing is my Sigmaris is low speed, my Charlotte is no additional speed, and my monsters would need a little bit more HP to survive. 2 tower hits and a stun from Golem, if they get lucky and they stun Wind Barb King and Vero, can oftentimes lead to a wiped run. Or if, Galleon derps. And regardless of what team you have, Galleon's likely going to derp a few times, 1 out of every few runs. So this is about where I'm at right now. Still not worried about dragons. Dragons isn't huge for me. It would be nice to have the violent runes and the guard runes for some of my units. Not a necessity, and violent runes don't bring any consistency. They just bring an extra element of RNG, which can help you win. And of course, the violent runes you get need to be better than the swift runes currently equipped to really be effective at all. So for example, my Veramos would have to have about 200-210 speed on violent just to be adequate, or just to hit the standard that I have for my Veramos. Of course, his speed is very high. You don't really need that much speed for Giants. I like him for PvP though, and with the Bernard at around 260-270 speed, Veramos is pretty much speed tuned to him. I suppose I could give slightly better runes to my Megan. Megan's sitting at around plus 133 speed, and up to plus 150 she's good. The thing is, I don't have a Lucian yet, so I don't really have a huge need for it. In PvP, I am struggling a little bit to climb the ranks. About where I can get by grinding throughout the week is Fighter 2. I never finish at Fighter 2. I finish around Fighter 1 if I can stay up there in Rush Hour, and Challenger 3 if I don't do Rush Hour at all. So the big problem I'm having is defense-wise, I don't have enough runes on my tanky monsters on defense. Offense-wise, I don't have a monster like Lucian, and I don't have any attackers that are fast other than the Wind Barbarian King. And the Wind Barbarian King AoE damage isn't enough to nuke entire teams. It's just enough to support the damage of my Giants team. So I would often bring Charlotte or Sigmaris, and the team that I usually run is a Bernard Galleon, 1 damage dealer, and then Veramos. And that team will often, do pretty well. Against more tanky-oriented teams, I will bring my Rakan, Megan, Bernard, Veramos team, and that team works pretty well, pretty reliably. It works mostly around Megan defense buffing Rakan and speeding up Rakan, because Rakan also has almost no speed. And from there, it's mostly Rakan's collapses that are winning the arena match. So I got a lot of room for improvement in arena. Most of it's speed based. Of course, that's the biggest problem that most people have everywhere. Like I said, I'm not super worried about it. I'm just going to be farming Giants, getting better runes. If I can get more speed, I'll take it. I am keeping a lot of runes I wouldn't have previously kept. I'm keeping 5-star hero runes that all have relevant and medium to high rolls into substats so that I could build more attackers. I'm going to have a lot of 5-star max level awakened attackers that I'm going to be using for Guild Siege, as some of the defenses we go at the rank my guild is currently around are not strong enough to warrant 6-starring unnecessary monsters. So I could give them 5-star runes that are decent and bring the runes up to plus 12 or plus 15 if I need to, and make the monsters very usable. So I am going to be doing that. That's also going to help with my world boss score and possibly help in TOA by having a little bit of extra monsters, and maybe in arena too. But I highly doubt I'll bring any 5-star monsters to arena. When I make changes to the account again, I will bring another update video. Other than this, I will be uploading a video about the Leica account either today or tomorrow. Other than that, I hope you guys have enjoyed my progress so far. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them below. I'll get back to you as quick as I can. I usually check comments within 24 hours. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.